So in the last video, I showed you how to make a fractal pattern based paper. And now I'm going to show you how to take that fractal pattern based paper and to make it into something that's even better for working with as a paper in Painter. Now, the first thing I'll tell you about this is we're going to have to open a brand new document. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to input a special size. So we're going to go File, New, and we're going to enter in 256 and hit Tab and type in 256 again. Basically what we're doing here is we're making a document that's the exact same size as what we had in that fractal pattern based paper. So I'm also going to choose that fractal pattern based paper right here so that we have that set for this new document, and I'm going to hit OK. So everything's set. We've got our fractal temp set as the paper here, and we've got the exact same file size as the original fractal temp set right here as a blank document. Now I'm just going to go ahead and move this over so that we can see this really clearly. What we want to do is we want to go to Effects, we want to go to Surface Control, and we want to go to Apply Surface Texture. Now this is typically an effect that you would use at the end of a work session when you're completely done with your document and you just want to apply something that looks like a canvas texture or a paper texture to your entire document. However, what we can do is we can use this to modify our fractal pattern to look more like a paper texture that we can then capture, and I'll show you how this goes. Now, if you remember when we were looking at the surface lighting for the impasto, we had the little CG looking sphere where we can move the light around, and we have the exact same thing here. However, we also have within this a little dial here that allows us to pick the light direction. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick the top. And you can see here that we're getting this really harsh blown out light. Well, the way that we can fix that is just by clicking in here and dragging that up. And as I do that, you can see here that we're getting a much more subdued grazing angle to that paper grain, and it's not being blown out as bad. So maybe something right around there is going to work just fine for me. The other thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn off shine completely. And the shine here does exactly the same thing as it does in impasto. Same with reflection. Same with all of these other light controls. We are going to leave the picture on at 100% though in this case, and we're going to remove a little bit of the amount. We're going to take it down to something like 50 so that this is not quite so harsh. And you can see that this is beginning to look like a very nice paper grain. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And now we end up with this paper grain. Now you can see that this looks significantly different from the paper grain that we have here from our fractal pattern. And if we go to Select All, and then we go over to our paper library, and we choose to capture paper. We'll call this one Fractal 1. No crossfade, because again, this is still seamlessly tileable. Hit OK. Now we have Fractal 1. So we can go ahead and close this document out. We don't need it anymore. That was just to get us to the point where we had Fractal 1. And now, if I come up here and make Fractal 1 our active paper, turn on our directional toggle, and click, you can see that we end up with a very different look than what we had when we were using just our standard fractal pattern. So this is a really nice workflow for creating a nice custom organic looking paper. Simply by creating a fractal pattern and then taking that fractal pattern and applying it to a new document using the Effects, Surface Control, Apply Surface Texture command, and then capturing that as a new paper. As you can see, by using those two tools together, you can create an endless variety of really organic looking paper grains for use with all of your brushes that will use paper grain in Painter.